So it is time to start getting ready for this year's tier list. This year, I plan on focusing more on grand battles, aka much harder content than just loot farming. Because FGO, most of the early game was loot farming, and more recently, we've been doing a lot of grand battles, raids, um, like bleached earth, and it's just like 3-3-3 farming. Just you, I barely do that anymore. It's like the most common thing to do 3-3-3 farming is events and like QP farming, and I only have had to do QP farming because I've been like trying to get some of my characters to like 120 and shit, like burning QP like crazy. Um, but yeah, I am truly bored of the old style tier lists I've done, especially because of the fact they're just my servant reviews, just like rapid fired, all back to back to back to back to back to back to back, and basically wasting a whole day of my life just doing what I normally do, while also being sleep deprived and not being able to enjoy myself that day. So this year, I don't want to do that, and I want to have the tier list like out relatively quick and not flounder with it like I did last year because it took me a while to actually, yeah, no, like I basically redid my tier list, um, just because of like the timing of when I started. So here's the format. The rankings are pretty much the same from what the old tier lists were, and by the way, I'm doing it here in Google Sheets so everyone can see it, and I don't have to worry about tier list maker messing up and like having an error and people I can't change it. That is my biggest gripe with doing the old list. Almost all of last year, I could not go back and change shit. I can change this whenever I want. Um, and I'm gonna be able to link this to the video, and people can just click the link and see all the up to date tier list rankings. Even if they're watching like the first video of the series, they'll be able to click it, and no matter the video, and be able to just get to the big one. Because I'm gonna make like a bunch of these slides, one for each of um, the major sets. So there's gonna be 9 here. We're not gonna do a separate list for low stars because of these other roles. It's going to let lower tier units shine. Someone like Matahari, who in Assassins would be considered lower because in the old tier list because she didn't really do damage. Um, she would probably go to like A plus for a debuffer, and like now low like cost really will come more into a factor. Um, I think just the normal list without having these rankings, it just like makes it too easy to put like lower star units lower when some of them like Phantom of the Opera, like Matahari, are like really solid units that you should be investing in because it's not even gonna take you much time to even get their skills leveled. They always like a 2 star needs less mats than a 5 star. This is a fact. It costs less. I'm not saying you need to lower them, but you can get Matahari's supportive skills up probably easier than it would take to get Van Gogh leveled. Shot in the dark, it's probably easier. So, I have everything set up here, and this list is going to be attached, and everything right now is still subject to change. I might adjust stuff based on feedback from from other people, or just I get an idea and I just want to add something. So we'll start here with the roles. DPS, the servant is just meant to do damage. Um, Simple as that. They don't have to be a farmer. Um, their just key identity is do damage. Um, the higher tier servants are probably gonna have like super effectives, but super effective is not a requirement. Sub DPS, most of their kit is AOE, um, but they could also be a farmer themselves. Um, and AOE does not mean like AOE attack. I'm talking about AOE buffs to the party. Like you're doing something that benefits like your party more than it benefits just that one character. So Tonalico would be a sub DPS, while Morgan probably would be a DPS, as an example. Support, self explanatory. You're healing, you're giving damage to one ally or party wide. This one is not going to be like super specific whether you're multi core or single core. It's just, do you help someone do more damage and you're not supposed to do damage yourself? Probably a support. Um, I will say a lot of esports specific units, especially the low stars, are probably going to go into support or debuffer because you'll get more mileage out of them that way than um, switching to like trying to make them a damage dealer. Like they could do it, but they work better in this role. And then debuffer, you are doing something to debilitate the enemy team. Defense down, stuns. Um, I actually want to do. I do want to include buff strip in here too. That I would consider that a debuff, not a support. Um, so yeah, anything that like makes your life easier that you can do the enemy, that's debuffer. All right. So main roles are pretty much the same. All servants are being compared to each other on that list. So you're not comparing Charlie to Summer Ibuki, even though I might make a not that comparison, but I might make a comparison like that. I'm not comparing the DPS to someone on another tier list. Like I'm not gonna take Charlie and say, oh, because Summer Ibuki is so much better than Charlie, Charlie's going in A instead of EX. No, 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 no. Like a berserker cannot make someone else rank lower. Um, like grand battles are showing that you cannot do that. Otherwise, it's much more miserable trying to do a grand battle when you don't have like a saber that does support. Like again, all the tier lists have always hyped up like the DPSs and the upper echelon supports, but the other supports that are like more low key but more people have, they get shoved into like DCs and like people don't use them. Like when I was doing Grand Battle, I used Daon more time. Yeah, no, I used Daon and Prince of Lang Ling more times in Grand Battle than I have ever used in my life for FGO. So that is really one of the reasons I like Grand Battle so much. They make you use so many different servants, and you can bond farm servants like fucking crazy. Like we don't have Rider and Caster Grand Battles, but we have Bond CEs for those classes specifically. So eventually, when we get CEs for that, bond farming, you're gonna get like stuff done really quick. And like the level 100 triple plus, whatever it is, the hardest difficulty, they give more bond points than the storm pods, like the Bleach Earth storm pods, like Dragon Scale and the two wave Avenger node. So, like hands down, you would be farming faster in grand battles, which is kind of another reason why I want to focus on this year. And hopefully have all these lists done before um, the final chapter starts. For all servants, MP1 for gacha, MP5 for welfare or free to play. This is how I'm gonna balance it out. So we're gonna see like welfares like Iori, like probably pace really really high as a DPS, because he's MP5 versus say Passionlip who's only gonna be MP1. CEs we're just gonna assume at level 100 just because it makes damage math easier if we need to do it like on Caldea mid recording. It's just ease of use. And I did adjust the description for the tiers this year because different rules. So EX, best of the best of their role and card type. Ease of use is a factor. So you can have the highest fucking damage in the game. If you need 20 different pieces to make that work, probably not. Probably not. This is like MOB Black Rail plus Kuro plus double Vitch Oberon. Like, uh, that was more the other tier list. The other tier list, I think, was more damage potential than anything else. For how I ranked a lot of characters, this is definitely more focused on grand battle. But obviously, farming is a factor. Is like grand battle is how they're ranked. Grand battle is mostly my thought process for the DPS and sub DPS, while not caring about like whether the grand battle is AOE or single target, because that's not fair. Because then pretty much every AOE saber would just get ranked down. Uh, Again, that's not what I'm trying to do. So the example for an EX is for a like character that would go in EX is Castoria. Both versions of Castoria would go in EX. I'm not gonna hide that. Everyone knows Castoria is like the best character. Like both of them are like top tier for their role. So I'm not hiding that. Like no character got buffed enough to knock Castoria down her throne, and Berserker Castoria is still nutty even with Lilith. A. Servant has decent skills, base kit, and MP. Needs a buff either for damage increase or potency of skills. So these are characters that are like a buff away from being able to be like contended for EX. For me, that's like Dioscuri. I like Dioscuri. They do have their own problems. And some of it isn't just the characters, it's also how the game is played. So I do also want to say that it's like it can be both. It can be both the game is fighting against the character and the character does need a buff to get it at least to a plus. And we'll get to the plus and null later, because this is not a minus. This is not minus on here. So B is just going to be the average servant. This is a character you can just slap in, very replaceable. They might not have a niche, or if they do have a niche, it's so weak that like you don't even need to worry about it. It's like, yeah, they have a niche, but you don't really care. C. Servant needs a buff or two to effectively function in this role. While they are able to perform in lower difficulty content, they will struggle without heavy investment across the board. I feel Rama is at this point. Rama is able to do like some cool shit. Not gonna lie, like a turn of 200% crit damage, while being able to do single target buster farming is cool. But that is so specific that it's not something we can really say like he can do super consistently. Especially the timing for that, it's not good. Like this is on a 4 turn, he can't double stack this in the final turn, which is where the hardest enemy would be. Like you would use this double stack crit damage, not for Rama to save it for the final turn, but to probably clear the second wave with a crit, and then you just do whatever the next turn. For a lot of these cases, a lot of these servants, they always have like specific use cases where like Rama, for instance, single target farming probably not the best, but in a CQ, he would be able to double stack that far easier to like after a break bar to just pop the next one with one buster card and then just be safer the next wave or next turn. But yeah. And D, uphill battle using this servant. Using this servant, even in its intended purpose, is outclassed by lower rarity units. Kit is completely non-cohesive and requires more investment from the supports or craft essences than the servant themselves. Saber Gilles de Rais. Does he have a really sick buster buff that does not like ever go away? Yes. Yes, he does. Is that gimmick worth it when he only has like one of them, or he cannot do it like consistently? Unless you're memeing, pick someone else. Just pick someone else. And then moving on, plus the plus. So this year I took off like or I don't even remember what I had before, but just this morning I had like C plus here. B, A plus. That's all I'm gonna have, just to make it easier. Again, A plus could be an EX, but they're like, yeah. Honestly, the plus is more for a character that is good enough to be in an EX, but the servant in EX is so good, like they can't. There isn't really gonna be a case where you would pick one over the other. Like one is probably objectively better, but say the EX is super effective against Earth. This one in A plus has super effective against Man, and the node you're trying to do is Man. Yeah, I would pick the one with this A plus with the super effective that works than one that doesn't. Last thing, no. I know it's minus. I might change what the symbol is. I might just even write null here, but I kind of just chose null because, well, please load up. Here. Did it because of Saito. I reviewed him yesterday, and I just wanted to put that in here because I kind of thought it made sense. So, unranked servants that are either so specific it would be misleading to put them anywhere else. Only be better than other servants in extreme cases. Angra Mainyu is the one that comes to mind the most, but I'm sure there's probably other cases. I kind of want to say Asterius would have would have probably been in this category if he did not get his recent buff to buff demonic and chaotic. But yeah, like really, this anniversary with all the crazy buffs they did, only made me want to do the list like this even more this year than I already did. Because if you guys remember, I had this done well before anniversary. Well before anniversary. Before I knew like we were gonna get a lot of debuffing. Most of it was like Matahari. But yeah, I am excited to do this. Hopefully it takes less time recording this than the other list. And yeah, I'm kind of just happy to start switching things up. All right. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.